It is 6:30. I'll call this meeting of the St. Mary's City Council to order. Roll call, please.
Flagler,
Here.
Muhlenhag,
Here.
Fitzgerald,
Here.
Willoughby,
Here.
Chrisman,
Here.
Coberman,
Here.
Buck,
Here. All right, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You all received a copy of the minutes of the last meeting. Are there any questions, comments, or corrections? If not, may I have a motion to accept, please? Mr. Bubb, Ms. Willoughby, council vote to accept, please. All yeses. Under petitions, communications, Mr. Byrd, you wanted to address council?
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I was just wondering, I wanted to talk, December 1st, they had a meeting down in the basement of the Eagles for the theater, and I just noticed that there wasn't one elected official from St. Mary's there, and I'm wondering why.
December 1st? Yeah, John, I was supposed to be there.
You had a cold, I know.
Right, and Mike filled in for me. I asked
Yeah,
Mike to fill in.
I was there, Pat, I know.
Okay.
You had a cold, but I was just wondering,
Where did you get the information?
where did I get the information?
Yeah,
I was
just the
sitting
meeting.
there,
No,
looking
no, no,
around.
No. How did you get the meeting notice?
I got it December 18th, or November 18th at the last SMART meeting.
Oh, well, I didn't make that.
We had Spencer, remember Mr. Spencer?
You know,
Gave us the
It was on Facebook, it was supposedly in the Evening Leader.
I'm not on Facebook.
It was supposedly in the Evening Leader, why? Was it, I don't know, I sit at home.
I was
Huh?
not aware about it until I read about it. I mean,
That's no excuse,
sometimes,
Todd. You are an elected official of the city of St. Mary's. It is your responsibility to know what the hell is going on in town.
well, if they want to have an official invitation to the city of St.
Oh,
Louis
an
County,
official invitation.
what I would suggest they do is send a
Golden
letter
Boss
like
or
anybody
what?
else does and says, hey, we have this event there. We would have showed up. I would have showed up.
I didn't know anything
Golden
about it,
Boss or
John.
what? Yeah, well, I didn't know about
Gave
it.
us a half an hour
Come on, folks, you're
Yeah.
supposed to be the pulse of the city
John,
of
you
St. Mary's.
sat in the same presentation, I think, when Mr. Spencer was up here.
But there was a lot of questions from the audience, what's going on? They wanted to find out what the negative things was that people had to say. You know, they just wanted to have an open discussion about the theater.
And
I just
tell
find
you,
it,
if
you know,
I
what
would
was
have
it,
known about
something
it, John,
political?
I would have been there.
The right people ain't running this operation, so you guys don't wanna participate in it. I don't know.
Oh, that's
But I
not true.
find it hard to believe that out of 7 people, not one of you could make it.
Well, that
You
day
all
was,
had prior
yeah, that
things, or
day
you
was
had a
the
cold,
40th.
or,
that day was the 48th anniversary of my wife and I's first date, so we were out for the evening.
you,
Yeah, okay. And in
your
addition to
48th
that,
anniversary of the day you got married, or the first time you took her out?
first time I took her out, 1973.
Come on, man. I don't wanna.
Well, I'm not done.
I know
John.
that's an important thing to you, but when you rose your hand and swore,
I can't
To
go
run
to a
this
meeting that I
town.
don't know about, John. That's my opinion.
it's your job to know what's going on,
I
man.
can't guess when
What do you
somebody's
want?
gonna have the.
Hey,
when somebody's
Todd,
gonna
we're having a meeting next December. We'll come down to your house and knock on the door.
Well,
Send you an embossed invitation. I'm sorry, man. That's not an
we
excuse.
had a nice presentation by Mr. Spencer. I support the theater project. What else do you want me to say to you about that? I just didn't know about
Take a
the
little
meeting.
time and go to the meeting.
I can't
It
go
took
to a
an
meeting
hour.
that I don't know about.
Same with me, I didn't know about it.
When
Yeah,
there
well,
was,
you know.
John, when,
It's like a butthole. Everybody excuses like a butthole. Everybody's got one.
Well, I got a
Yeah,
good
you know,
excuse, but I
so-
don't know about something.
well, here's,
Let's
more
move
of my
on.
Okay, John,
What?
it's done, it's over with.
What do you mean it's
Spencer,
over with?
no.
You give me the floor.
Hey, John, I
man.
will tell you this, the
What?
I don't think there's anybody up here that's opposed to that theater project. We wanna see that happen. That's vital to our I'm speaking for myself, but I've never talked to anybody else
It's
in here that
vital and
says,
everybody's
hey,
all
we don't want that
important,
to happen.
but nobody had the time to go to the damn meeting, man. Now, come on.
I'll say just one thing, John. I have done more for that behind the scenes than you would ever know. So it's not a city.
But they don't
it's
need
not a
behind the
city
scenes,
project.
man.
It's not a city project, okay? That's a private endeavor. We did not get a formal invitation of any type whatsoever.
There
I
again,
found out
gotta
about it the
formal.
day
You gotta be
before.
formally invited to go to a meeting, man.
All I'm
Well,
saying
when you-
is,
when you
I found out
advertise,
about
I'm
it the
not
day
on
before.
Facebook. Now, if the primary way to
I
focus on
ain't
that's
either.
Facebook, I didn't know anything about it till the day after. I mean,
You know.
that's the honest truth.
One more thing, John,
I'm-
before I was cut off before, I wasn't
Sorry.
finished.
Go ahead, Dan.
Mr. Berg. Ever since the theater was purchased, I've been in contact all the time with Doug Spencer, Dean Axum, some of the other fellas. I've done design work, done printing of a lot of their posters. Practically, the stuff you see in the restaurant, that was me. All the printed material that's passed around, I did totally free of charge for this project. So and this entire council is 100% behind the theater the theater project. And so there's, like Jim said, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes you don't know, that, we're just doing it and we don't want to take the credit for. I'm just, I got glowing memories of that theater like everybody else in this room. And I wanted to see it succeed. So there's many things that we're doing as individuals, but like it was already said, we weren't formally invited. Sometimes when you stick your nose in things like that, they think, oh, what's the city got to do with this? Not true. The city's 100% behind it, and it's a private endeavor. It's a 501(c) that these people have taken on by themselves with the community backing behind them. We'll see you this Saturday at the concert out at the high school.
Well,
That's fine for you to say, every one of you can say, well, I'm working behind the scenes. The people need to see your faces out in front, man. You ain't gotta say a word. Just show up.
I've been out front, John. I've also taken a lot of comments on Facebook, and you should know that. If you
I don't
your-
get on Facebook,
Okay.
man.
That's fine, but other people are. That's what I'm saying. Behind the scenes, there's a lot of things that you are not aware of, that people around here are doing.
That's fine.
We can't be at every single
You
meeting
better
every
be,
day.
you need to be out to where the people can see you. Regular Joe, guys that don't come to the council meetings and see, well, usually I'm the only one here, but hear you guys.
well, it's
They
reported.
need to see you out in public facing the people.
Well, the public
Just
was
sit
all, it was in the newspaper when Mr. Spencer had the courtesy to come up and talk to us, which was a nice presentation. The mayor said how we supported it. Nobody up here says, hey, we don't want this project to happen. I think this is totally blown out of
Quit spinning it
proportion.
off to the side, Todd.
I'm
I
not
didn't say
standing
anything
up.
about you guys are against it. I'm just wanting to know why, out of 7 people, 1 of you couldn't show up in the basement of the Eagles just to sit there and twiddle your thumbs, if nothing else. You didn't have to say a word. Just, if the people would have seen you there, they know you support it.
John, as I understood from my discussions with Mr. Spencer, this was going to be a rollout to the public to show them the video of the plan of what to do with the theater. Now I saw that video. I saw that video once at the Rotary meeting with Mr. Spencer when he came to that Rotary meeting to show Rotary what the plan was going to be. I saw it here again at this meeting when we were presented from Mr. Spencer. The way he described that meeting to me was that was the town hall for people who are not in Rotary, didn't come to the council meeting, for them to show up and see that. The way I understood it, it was sort of a one-way presentation by him to show him the video. I didn't know that it was supposed to be a town hall where they wanted to hear from the city and from the government about what their plans were with it. I thought it was just an informational from the group to the public to give them an opportunity.
That's fine, Zach. You gotta defend yourself. You're not one of these.
Well, I'm an elected
city
official.
council
I'm an elected
members, man.
official too.
That's the ones
But-
I'm upset and disappointed in.
I'm an elected official too, but I just wanted to point that
Well,
out.
you're an elected
I
official,
knew
but
about.
You're not a city council.
but
You're
I-
not a voting city council person.
Sure, but I knew about the
Okay.
meeting, and I'm just explaining that it was presented to me as a one-way between to give an opportunity for the public to see the video that we had already seen.
You know, I'm sorry, but I took it as a political move. And boys, we don't need politicians.
Yeah.
We need civic leaders.
John, for you to think that
John, that
this
is
even resembles
ridiculous.
Washington.
Whatever, that was the first thing that popped into my head when not one of you showed up, all 7 of you. Nothing, you know.
Yeah, your
Well, there's
concern is already
somebody that's,
moved on.
there's somebody that's running
All right,
something
you're-
that somebody else don't like,
Okay.
or,
John?
Hey, thanks,
John,
Concern
What?
noted.
We're done.
Can't fix it.
you may be done, I ain't done yet.
You're done.
You give me the floor,
You're
you didn't
done.
put a
I'll
time
take
limit
the
on
floor away
it.
from
Go to hell, Jim.
you're
Well, the
done.
cops haven't thrown me out, but I'm gonna say my piece.
You
You
said
said
your
it.
piece.
No, I
In
ain't.
circles.
I ain't
You're
done
going
yet.
around in circles.
I ain't going around in circles.
You're done. Moving on.
Thank you.
Moving on. Kiss
Move-
my ass.
Reports from city officials. Mr. Mayor,
Make sure you're.
I have nothing to add to my report.
any questions or comments from council?
As usual, you boys don't wanna hear about it, so you don't wanna talk about it. Yeah?
Moving on.
You ain't
Tax
moving
commissioners
nowhere.
Nothing to add to the tax commission.
You give me Robert's Rules of Parliamentary Procedure, you give me the floor,
John,
you didn't set a
you
time
are
limit
done.
before you gave me the floor, so you can't say I'm
Please
done.
leave.
Go to hell, Jim, you hear me?
Please
All
leave.
the cops haven't dragged me out, I don't care,
Nothing like constructive criticism, is there, John?
no,
Okay. Tax
you
commissioners
guys don't
report.
like it.
There's nothing to add to the tax commissioner's report, Mr. Harris.
Okay, any questions or comments from council? Moving on, Director of Public Service and Safety Report, Mr. Foxover.
Mr. Harris, one thing I'd like to add, if you've down McKinley Road today, you'll notice that the state or our contractor has started on a pedestrian bridge. There's earth moving equipment that's sitting out there now just east of MTO. Just remember that the bridge itself is being built off-site, so you won't see any of that construction going on. When they deliver it, it will be set in place. So what you'll see now is just all the earthwork being done, getting ready for the abutments to be done. I'm gonna talk to Mr. Mueller tomorrow to see if we can't get a rendering of what it's gonna look like, so you can see the color schemes and things of that nature, and I'll try to get that out to you. Other than that, I'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
What's going on Linden?
Linden?
Yeah, right down the street from me.
Looked like a code project.
Kogie's in there, I think they're probably putting a sewer lateral in.
Okay.
I'm not aware of any city projects, it might be just a private,
They got the street closed.
yeah, well, private contractors can close the street, so,
Okay.
yeah. I'm not aware, but I'll find out and then I'll let you know.
Okay. Any questions or comments from council? Reports of city council, we have the Parks and Playgrounds Committee report.
I have nothing new to add to it, other than just to preface that we met with the youth football to discuss the Bachman Complex field lighting and also practice field lighting. And basically, the Bachman field, we're under a project right now there to make some changes, so we can't discuss that right now as far as lighting for that, it'll be down the road. As far as the field consideration, the lighting there, practice field, we took that under advisement, we're looking into the cost for that, and we're gonna get back to the group.
Okay. Any questions or comments from council? Okay. Next, we have the Finance Committee, Mr. Fitzgerald.
Thanks, Jim. We had a meeting on December 6th. We had basically our second review of the 2022 budget. And based on our review and questions that were asked and answered, basically approved the move to have the ordinance brought to council, so you'll see that today's meeting. And also, we also talked about the lodging tax that was brought up previously, and had some questions and answers there, and again, the recommendation for ordinance to be brought to council for our review of that as well. So other than that, the report stands for itself.
Any questions or comments from council? Okay, under readings of ordinances and resolution, under third readings, we have ordinance 2021-37, an ordinance authorizing the execution of an agreement with Clemens Nelson Associates for employee relations work. Any other questions or comments from council? If not, this being the third reading, may I have a motion to pass? Mr. Fitzgerald, Mr. Chrisman, council vote to pass, please. All yeses. Thank you. Next, we have Resolution 2021-24, emergency resolution requesting the cooperation of the Director of Transportation for the resurfacing of US 2933 East in US 2933 West portions within the city limits of the city of St. Mary's. Any questions or comments from council? If not, may I have a motion to pass, please? Mr. Yelenick, Mr. Flegel, council vote to pass, please. All yeses, thank you. We have no second readings. Under new legislation, we have ordinance number 2021-38. May I have a motion to pass? So moved. Read, please. Ms. Willoughby, Mr. Buck, council vote to pass, read, please. I'm sorry. All yeses. Ordinance 2021-38, an ordinance enacting Chapter 182 of the Codified Ordinances providing for the establishment of a municipal lodging tax. Mr. Fox, or should it be?
Mr. Harris, I will defer to Ms. Farrell's report.
Yeah, so I think it was as discussed at the finance committee meeting. This is a draft based largely on Wapakoneta, Sydney, and Lima, kind of a mix between their what I liked and different things about their ordinances, to establish under Ohio law an extra 3% onto the lodging tax that currently exists in Auglaize County, with the purpose of using it for tourist-related tourism and promotional sort of items for the city. The lodging tax fund is sporting events, cultural arts and performances, community service organizations, special projects, projects for the restoration, beautification, and enhancement of current facilities and structures, and other beautification projects, any other project expenditure which would enhance the city's appeal to visitors and tourists, with the idea that that's tax that the hotels and short-term rentals are receiving in town goes back to the city so that council can decide how to spend it to make beautification and tourism type of improvements to increase the amount of tourism and beds that are being used in the city. So,
Any questions or comments from council? If not, this will be back for its second reading at the next meeting. Next, we have ordinance 2021-39. May I have a motion to read, please? Mr. Chrisman, Mr. Flegel, council vote to read, please. All yeses. Ordinance 2021-38, an emergency ordinance to make appropriations for current expenses and expenditures of the City of St. Mary's, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022. Mr. Foxover.
Mr. Harris, this is the 2022 budget. We've talked about it in the committee meeting. The current total is $67.8 million. As we've indicated before, once we minus out our interfund transfers of $21.8 million, our budget currently stands at $46,018,785.37. I would like to point out that this is about $86,000 less than what we presented at the Finance Committee meeting last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was. So it is about $86,000 left, or less than what we talked about at the Finance Committee meeting. Mr. Reason and I talked right before the meeting. The budgets look the numbers look pretty good, but we suspected some accounts they will change, which we're used to as we go through this process. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about is the capital improvement projects. I know the committee members got this sheet. I am hopeful that I stuck copies in the council members' boxes that weren't able to attend. If you did not get that sheet, I have extra ones here. This is all the departments put together a list of their capital improvement purchases or projects. That's given to the committee members, the public, and the news media. If you did not get a copy of it, and you'd like a copy of it, I have a copy here for you. There has been one change. We met this morning with engineering. They have under their section $150,000 for consulting fees for phase 2 and phase 3 of the grist mill. Those numbers have been revised. It's really about half of that right now. So we're down to probably $75,000 or no more than $75,000 consulting for phase 2 and 3 of the grist mill. Other than that, I'd be glad to try to answer any questions regarding the proposed 2022 budget.
Are there any questions or comments from council? If not, this will be back for its second reading at the next meeting.
We will keep you informed of all the changes, whether they're additions or deletions.
That's pretty much inevitable.
Yes.
So, Next, we have ordinance 2021-40. May I have a motion to read, please? Mr. Fitzgerald, Mr. Yolinek. Council vote to read, please. All yeses. Ordinance 2021-40, an emergency ordinance authorizing the purchase of various materials, equipment, and services for the departments for the city of St. Mary's. Mr. Foxhoe.
Mr. Harris, this ordinance allows us, or outlines capital improvement purchases or projects, and just keep in mind that a capital improvement purchase or project is anything that costs over $500 and will last over 5 years. So we typically think of big projects and big purchases, but really, it's anything that's cost over 500 and lasts over 5 years. As you can see through the document, it lists those by department and or by fund. It also talks about anything over $50,000 requires bidding unless council gives us authorization to forgo bidding.
This is just the companion to the last one.
Yes, sir.
It's an annual thing. Any questions or comments from council? If not, this will be back for its next second reading at the next meeting. Next, we have resolution 2021-26. May I have a motion to read, please? Ms. Willoughby, Mr. Coverman, council vote to read, please. Where are you, Bob?
Oops, sorry.
All yeses. Ordinance 2021-26, resolution, number 2021-26, an emergency resolution authorizing the disposition of city property through internet bidding. Mr. Foxhoe.
Mr. Harris, this resolution is an annual resolution. This is for 2022. We started this program in 2014. It's an excellent way for us to sell unneeded equipment or vehicles through the internet bidding process. We have sold over 735 items through this process. Even items that we removed from the Palm Building and Murphy Building were sold through this process. To date, we have been able to generate $465,462.63 in revenue by selling unwanted equipment or vehicles or other items that we find that are city property.
Okay. You need this?
No, it can be read 3 times.
Okay. Any questions or comments from council? If not, then this will be back for its second reading at the next meeting. Moving, we have request for safety committee meeting.
Mr. Yolinek is the chair.
Mr. Yolinek.
We talked a little bit briefly, the mayor and the Director Foxhoven, before the meeting about the date for this. And next Monday, the 20th. Is that good for Mr. Coverman and Mr. Fitzgerald?
We're good, Dan.
5:15, usual time.
Should work.
Okay,
5:15.
next Monday, 20th, 5:15.
Everybody good with that?
And I'm told Chief Ayers will be there.
Okay. And a reminder, the December 27th meeting has been rescheduled for December 29th. Is there anything else come before council? Mr. Buck.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Mr. Buck, second by Mr. Coverman. Council vote to adjourn, please. All yeses, thank you.